In the tumultuous theater of existence, where fortunes shift like desert sands and the human spirit grapples with an unending torrent of external forces, the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius stands as an unshakable lighthouse, guiding us toward tranquility and resilience. Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor of Rome, left behind a treasury of introspective meditations, revealing his own struggles and offering timeless solutions to the universal challenges of human experience. In this exploration, we will delve into 7 core principles extracted from Aurelius's meditations, not merely as historical artifacts but as living, breathing directives applicable to the modern world. By intertwining Aurelius's Stoic philosophy with contemporary insights from psychology, neuroscience, and real-world examples, we will illuminate how these principles can empower us to cultivate inner strength, navigate adversity, and lead lives of purpose and fulfillment. This journey will weave together the ancient wisdom of the Roman Empire with the modern pursuit of well-being, providing a roadmap for those seeking to live more authentically, more purposefully, and more resiliently in an increasingly complex and unpredictable world. These lessons, distilled from the crucible of Aurelius's own life, offer a profound pathway towards mastering oneself and finding serenity amidst chaos. This essay is more than just a summary. It is a conversation, a dialogue between the past and the present, an invitation to embark on a transformative journey towards a more meaningful and fulfilling existence. Prepare to discover how the enduring wisdom of Marcus Aurelius can reshape your perspective, empower your actions, and ultimately, guide you towards a life lived with purpose and profound inner peace. Lesson 1: Acceptance of what you can't control. Deep dive. The cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, and perhaps the most immediately impactful lesson from Marcus Aurelius, is the profound acceptance of what lies beyond our control. Aurelius, in his meditations, repeatedly emphasizes the dichotomy of control, urging us to meticulously distinguish between what we can influence and what we cannot. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This seemingly simple statement holds the key to unlocking immense inner resilience and serenity. To truly grasp the magnitude of this lesson, we must first dissect the nature of control itself. What exactly can we control? In the Stoic worldview, our control is largely confined to our internal realm, our thoughts, our judgments, our intentions, our emotions, and our actions. We have the capacity to choose how we interpret events, how we respond to challenges, and what values we prioritize. This internal landscape is our domain, the kingdom over which we can reign supreme. Conversely, the external world is a chaotic and unpredictable realm governed by forces often far beyond our ability to manipulate. The actions of others, the vagaries of the weather, the twists and turns of fate, these are all elements largely outside our sphere of direct influence. Attempting to control these external factors is, according to Stoicism, a futile endeavor, a recipe for frustration, anxiety, and ultimately, unhappiness. The incessant struggle to bend the external world to our will is a drain on our energy and a distraction from the true source of power, which lies within. Consider a modern-day example, a traffic jam. You are late for an important meeting, and the cars are at a standstill. You can honk your horn, fume with anger, and desperately try to force your way through, but none of these actions will actually alleviate the situation. In fact, they will likely only increase your stress levels and worsen your overall experience. The Stoic approach, on the other hand, would be to accept the reality of the situation. You cannot control the traffic, but you can control your reaction to it. You can choose to remain calm, listen to a podcast, or use the time to mentally prepare for your meeting. By focusing on what you can control, your attitude and your actions, you can transform a potentially stressful situation into an opportunity for self-mastery. This principle of acceptance is not passive resignation, it is not about giving up or becoming apathetic. Rather, it is an active and intentional choice to focus our energy on what truly matters, our internal world. It is about recognizing the limits of our influence and directing our efforts towards cultivating inner virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By embracing acceptance, we free ourselves from the tyranny of external expectations and unlock the potential for genuine peace and fulfillment. The practice of acceptance also involves a continuous process of self-reflection and re-evaluation. We must constantly examine our desires and expectations, asking ourselves whether they are aligned with reality and whether they are within our sphere of control. This requires honesty, humility, and a willingness to let go of our attachment to outcomes. It is about learning to embrace uncertainty and to find contentment in the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. Furthermore, embracing what we can't control is fundamental to the process of emotional regulation. When we resist external realities, we create internal conflict, leading to feelings of frustration, anger, and anxiety. However, when we consciously accept the uncontrollable aspects of life, we reduce this internal resistance, paving the way for greater emotional stability. Acceptance allows us to respond more rationally and effectively to challenges, rather than reacting impulsively out of frustration or fear. One powerful technique for cultivating acceptance is the practice of negative visualization. This involves contemplating the potential loss of things we value, our health, our relationships, our possessions. While it may seem counterintuitive, this practice can actually enhance our appreciation for what we have and reduce our fear of loss. By acknowledging the impermanence of all things, we can learn to cherish the present moment and to find contentment in the face of uncertainty. Modern psychological research supports the Stoic emphasis on acceptance. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, a widely used therapeutic approach, incorporates the principle of acceptance as a key component of treatment. CBT helps individuals identify and challenge negative thought patterns that contribute to emotional distress. By learning to accept the reality of their situation, individuals can reduce their anxiety and develop more adaptive coping strategies. Moreover, the concept of acceptance is closely related to mindfulness, a practice that involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them. By cultivating mindfulness, we can become more aware of our internal reactions to external events and make conscious choices about how we respond. Acceptance also plays a crucial role in fostering healthier relationships. When we try to control the behavior of others, we often create conflict and resentment. However, when we accept people for who they are, with their flaws and imperfections, we can build stronger and more authentic connections. Acceptance allows us to empathize with others, to understand their perspectives, and to communicate more effectively. In conclusion, the Stoic lesson of accepting what we cannot control is not merely a philosophical concept, it is a practical tool for navigating the complexities of life and cultivating inner peace. By focusing on our internal world, practicing self-reflection, embracing uncertainty, and fostering mindfulness, we can unlock the potential for greater resilience, emotional stability, and ultimately, a more fulfilling existence. The power to transform our experience lies not in controlling the external world, but in mastering our own minds. Lesson 2, Adversity is Opportunity, Deep Dive. Following logically from the first principle, the second profound Stoic lesson extracted from the teachings of Marcus Aurelius is the transformative concept that adversity is, in reality, an opportunity. Aurelius boldly proclaims, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This statement encapsulates a radical reframing of challenges, urging us to perceive obstacles not as roadblocks to our progress, but as stepping stones towards growth and self-discovery. The conventional perception of adversity is often one of negativity and resistance. We tend to view challenges as unwelcome intrusions, setbacks to be avoided at all costs. However, Aurelius invites us to adopt a radically different perspective, one that embraces adversity as an integral and essential component of the human experience. To understand this lesson fully, we must first consider the nature of growth itself. Growth rarely occurs in the absence of challenge. It is through overcoming obstacles, navigating difficulties, and pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones that we develop new skills, build resilience, and expand our capacity. Just as a muscle grows stronger through resistance training, so too does the human spirit grow stronger through facing adversity. Consider the example of a startup entrepreneur. The path to building a successful business is fraught with challenges, financial constraints, intense competition, unexpected setbacks, and countless hours of hard work. Many entrepreneurs give up along the way, succumbing to the pressure and difficulties. However, those who persevere, who view each obstacle as an opportunity to learn and adapt, are the ones who ultimately succeed. They learn from their mistakes, refine their strategies, and develop the resilience needed to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of the business world. Aurelius's perspective aligns beautifully with modern psychological insights on post-traumatic growth. This theory posits that individuals who experience significant adversity can emerge from these experiences not merely unscathed, but transformed, attaining a higher level of psychological functioning and a deeper appreciation for life. Post-traumatic growth is characterized by increased resilience, a stronger sense of self, improved relationships, and a greater sense of purpose. The key to unlocking the potential for post-traumatic growth lies in our ability to reframe our experiences. Instead of dwelling on the negative aspects of adversity, we can focus on the lessons learned, the strengths developed, and the opportunities for growth that have emerged. This requires a conscious effort to challenge negative thought patterns and to adopt a more optimistic and proactive approach. Furthermore, embracing adversity as an opportunity requires a shift in mindset from victimhood to agency. When we view ourselves as victims of circumstance, we relinquish our power and become passive recipients of fate. However, when we recognize that we have the capacity to choose our response to adversity, we reclaim our agency and empower ourselves to create a positive outcome. This doesn't mean denying the pain or difficulty of the situation. Acknowledging the emotional impact of adversity is essential for healthy coping. However, it does mean choosing not to be defined by our suffering, but to use it as a catalyst for growth and transformation. One practical technique for reframing adversity is to ask ourselves the question, what can I learn from this experience? By actively seeking out the lessons embedded in our challenges, we can transform them from sources of pain into opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Another helpful approach is to focus on what we can control in the midst of adversity. Even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges, there are always aspects of the situation that we can influence. We can control our attitude, our actions, and our choices. By focusing on these areas, we can regain a sense of control and empower ourselves to navigate the situation effectively. The concept of adversity as opportunity also has implications for leadership. Effective leaders are not those who avoid challenges, but those who embrace them and use them as opportunities to inspire and motivate their teams. They create a culture of resilience, where failure is seen as a learning opportunity and where individuals are empowered to take risks and push beyond their comfort zones. In addition, this principle encourages empathy and compassion. By recognizing that adversity is a universal human experience, we can develop a deeper understanding and appreciation for the struggles of others. This can lead to greater kindness, generosity, and a desire to help those who are facing challenges. The story of Nelson Mandela provides a powerful example of how adversity can be transformed into opportunity. Mandela spent 27 years in prison for his opposition to apartheid in South Africa. Rather than succumbing to bitterness and resentment, he used his time in prison to deepen his understanding of the human condition, to develop his leadership skills, and to cultivate a vision for a more just and equitable society. Upon his release, he led South Africa through a peaceful transition to democracy, becoming a symbol of hope and reconciliation for the world. In conclusion, the Stoic lesson of adversity as opportunity is a transformative concept that can empower us to navigate the challenges of life with greater resilience, purpose, and fulfillment. By reframing our experiences, focusing on what we can control, and embracing the potential for growth, we can transform adversity from a source of pain into a catalyst for self-discovery and a stepping stone towards a more meaningful existence. The key lies not in avoiding challenges, but in embracing them and using them as opportunities to become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate human beings. Lesson 3: Virtue is the ultimate good, deep dive. Moving further into the heart of Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius's assertion that virtue is the ultimate good provides a powerful framework for living a life of purpose and fulfillment. He urges us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. B1. This succinct directive underscores the Stoic emphasis on action over mere contemplation, on embodying virtuous principles rather than simply theorizing about them. To fully understand this lesson, we must first define what the Stoics meant by virtue. For them, virtue was not simply a matter of adhering to a set of rules or moral codes. Rather, it was a state of inner excellence, a cultivation of the qualities that enable us to live in accordance with nature and to fulfill our potential as human beings. The four cardinal virtues of Stoicism are wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Wisdom involves the pursuit of knowledge, understanding, and discernment, allowing us to make sound judgments and to navigate the complexities of life effectively. Justice encompasses fairness, equity, and compassion, guiding us to treat others with respect and to uphold the principles of right and wrong. Courage entails bravery, resilience, and perseverance, enabling us to face adversity with fortitude and to stand up for what we believe in, even in the face of opposition. Temperance involves self-control, moderation, and balance, helping us to avoid excess and to live in harmony with ourselves and with the world around us. Aurelius believed that the pursuit of virtue was not merely a means to an end, but an end in itself. He argued that true happiness and fulfillment could only be found in living a virtuous life, regardless of external circumstances. This meant that even in the face of adversity, suffering, or injustice, we could still find contentment by striving to act with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. This perspective stands in stark contrast to many modern conceptions of happiness, which often equate it with external factors such as wealth, status, or pleasure. The Stoics argued that these external pursuits are ultimately fleeting and unsatisfying, as they are dependent on factors outside our control. True happiness, they believed, is internal and self-sufficient, arising from the cultivation of virtue and the alignment of our actions with our values. Consider the example of a successful business executive who has achieved great wealth and status but has neglected their relationships, compromised their values, and sacrificed their health in the process. While they may appear successful from an external perspective, they are likely to be deeply unhappy, as their life is not grounded in virtue. On the other hand, consider the example of a social worker who dedicates their life to helping others, despite facing challenges and setbacks. While they may not be wealthy or famous, they are likely to experience a deep sense of purpose and fulfillment, as their life is rooted in virtuous action. The pursuit of virtue requires a conscious and ongoing effort. It involves self-reflection, self-discipline, and a commitment to continuous improvement. We must constantly examine our thoughts, our words, and our actions, asking ourselves whether they are aligned with our values and whether they are contributing to our growth as virtuous individuals. One practical technique for cultivating virtue is to practice daily acts of kindness and compassion. This could involve volunteering our time, donating to charity, or simply offering a helping hand to someone in need. By actively seeking out opportunities to serve others, we can strengthen our sense of empathy, develop our capacity for compassion, and cultivate the virtue of justice. Another helpful approach is to practice mindfulness and self-awareness. By paying attention to our thoughts and feelings, we can become more aware of our tendencies towards negative emotions such as anger, fear, and greed. We can then use this awareness to challenge these emotions and to cultivate more virtuous responses. The Stoic emphasis on virtue also has implications for our relationships. By striving to act with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance in our interactions with others, we can build stronger, more authentic, and more fulfilling relationships. This means being honest, fair, and respectful, even when we disagree with others or when we are faced with difficult situations. Furthermore, the pursuit of virtue can provide us with a sense of meaning and purpose in life. By aligning our actions with our values and by striving to make a positive contribution to the world, we can create a legacy that will endure long after we are gone. This sense of purpose can provide us with resilience in the face of adversity and can help us to overcome the challenges and setbacks that we inevitably encounter along the way. The life of Mahatma Gandhi provides a powerful example of how the pursuit of virtue can transform individuals and societies. Gandhi dedicated his life to the pursuit of truth, justice, and nonviolence. He led India to independence through peaceful resistance, inspiring millions around the world. His unwavering commitment to virtue, even in the face of imprisonment and violence, made him one of the most influential figures of the 20th century. In conclusion, the Stoic lesson that virtue is the ultimate good provides us with a powerful framework for living a life of purpose, fulfillment, and meaning. By cultivating wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, we can unlock our potential as human beings, build stronger relationships, and make a positive contribution to the world. The pursuit of virtue is not a passive endeavor, but an active and ongoing process of self-reflection, self-discipline, and continuous improvement. It is a journey that requires courage, commitment, and a willingness to embrace the challenges that inevitably arise along the way. However, the rewards are immeasurable, as the cultivation of virtue leads to a life of true happiness, inner peace, and lasting fulfillment. Lesson 4: Happiness and Fulfillment, Deep Dive. Building upon the foundation of virtue, Marcus Aurelius offers profound insights into the nature of happiness and fulfillment. His Stoic perspective challenges conventional notions of happiness, emphasizing inner contentment and aligning one's actions with virtue rather than seeking external validation or fleeting pleasures. This lesson provides a roadmap for cultivating lasting joy and a sense of purpose, regardless of external circumstances. Aurelius's view of happiness diverges significantly from the modern pursuit of pleasure and material possessions. In contemporary society, happiness is often equated with acquiring wealth, achieving success, or experiencing pleasurable sensations. However, Aurelius believed that true happiness lies not in these external pursuits, but in cultivating inner virtues and living in accordance with reason and nature. He argued that external factors are ultimately unreliable and fleeting. Wealth can be lost, success can be ephemeral, and pleasure can be addictive and ultimately unsatisfying. Relying on these external sources for happiness leaves us vulnerable to disappointment and unhappiness when they inevitably change or disappear. Instead, Aurelius advocated for cultivating inner resilience, self-sufficiency, and contentment. He believed that true happiness arises from within, from the alignment of our actions with our values and from the development of inner virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. This perspective aligns with modern research in positive psychology, which has shown that individuals who focus on cultivating inner strengths and virtues tend to experience greater levels of happiness, well-being, and life satisfaction. Studies have found that traits such as gratitude, kindness, compassion, and resilience are strongly associated with subjective well-being. Aurelius also emphasized the importance of accepting what we cannot control. He believed that much of our unhappiness stems from our attempts to control external events and circumstances that are ultimately beyond our influence. By learning to accept the inevitable ups and downs of life, we can reduce our stress and anxiety and cultivate a greater sense of peace and contentment. This does not mean passively accepting injustice or suffering. Rather, it means focusing our energy on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses to external events. By striving to act with virtue, even in the face of adversity, we can find a sense of meaning and purpose that transcends our circumstances. Consider the example of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust. In his book Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl describes how he found meaning and purpose even in the midst of unimaginable suffering. He observed that those who were able to maintain a sense of hope, purpose, and inner freedom were more likely to survive. Frankl argued that even when we are stripped of everything else, we still have the freedom to choose our attitude and our response to our circumstances. This inner freedom, he believed, is the key to finding meaning and purpose in life. Aurelius's teachings also emphasized the importance of living in the present moment. He believed that much of our unhappiness stems from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. By focusing on the present moment, we can cultivate a greater sense of appreciation for the beauty and goodness that exists in our lives. This perspective aligns with mindfulness practices, which encourage us to pay attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. Mindfulness can help us to become more aware of our present moment experience and to cultivate a greater sense of peace and contentment. One practical technique for cultivating happiness and fulfillment is to practice gratitude. This involves taking time each day to reflect on the things that we are grateful for in our lives. This could include our relationships, our health, our opportunities, or even simple pleasures such as a beautiful sunset or a delicious meal. By focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, we can shift our perspective and cultivate a greater sense of appreciation and joy. Another helpful approach is to engage in activities that are meaningful and fulfilling. This could involve pursuing our passions, volunteering our time, or spending time with loved ones. By engaging in activities that align with our values and that give us a sense of purpose, we can experience greater levels of happiness and well-being. The cultivation of strong relationships is also essential for happiness and fulfillment. Humans are social creatures, and we thrive on connection and belonging. By investing in our relationships and by cultivating empathy, compassion, and kindness, we can build stronger, more supportive, and more fulfilling relationships. In addition, Aurelius's teachings encourage us to cultivate a sense of detachment from external outcomes. This means striving to do our best, but also accepting that we cannot control the results of our efforts. By releasing our attachment to outcomes, we can reduce our stress and anxiety and cultivate a greater sense of inner peace. In conclusion, Marcus Aurelius provides a profound and timeless perspective on happiness and fulfillment. By emphasizing inner virtue, acceptance, mindfulness, gratitude, meaningful activities, strong relationships, and detachment from external outcomes, he offers a roadmap for cultivating lasting joy and a sense of purpose, regardless of external circumstances. The key lies not in pursuing fleeting pleasures or seeking external validation, but in cultivating inner resilience, self-sufficiency, and contentment. By aligning our actions with our values and by striving to live in accordance with reason and nature, we can unlock the potential for a truly happy and fulfilling life. Lesson 5: Detaching from External Opinions, Deep Dive. Marcus Aurelius, in his enduring quest for wisdom and self-mastery, offers a critical insight into the human condition, our tendency to prioritize the opinions of others over our own well-being and self-perception. He astutely observes, "It never ceases to amaze me, we all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This seemingly paradoxical statement unveils a profound truth about our inherent vulnerability to external validation and the detrimental impact it can have on our authenticity and inner peace. This Stoic lesson provides a powerful antidote, urging us to detach from external opinions and cultivate a robust sense of self-worth rooted in our own values and principles. The human desire for social acceptance and belonging is a deeply ingrained evolutionary drive. Throughout history, our survival has depended on our ability to cooperate and connect with others. As a result, we are naturally attuned to the opinions and judgments of those around us. However, in modern society, this innate desire can be exploited and amplified by social media, advertising, and cultural pressures, leading us to prioritize external validation over our own inner compass. Aurelius recognized the dangers of this external orientation. He believed that seeking approval from others is a recipe for unhappiness and dissatisfaction. This is because external opinions are often fickle, inconsistent, and based on incomplete information. Furthermore, attempting to please everyone is an impossible and ultimately self-defeating task. When we base our self-worth on the opinions of others, we become dependent on their approval and vulnerable to their criticism. This can lead to feelings of anxiety, insecurity, and low self-esteem. We may find ourselves constantly striving to meet the expectations of others, sacrificing our own values and desires in the process. Aurelius advocated for cultivating a strong sense of self-reliance and inner conviction. He believed that true happiness and fulfillment come from living in accordance with our own values and principles, regardless of what others may think. This requires a deep understanding of ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, and our values. This does not mean ignoring feedback from others entirely. Constructive criticism can be valuable for personal growth and improvement. However, it is important to evaluate feedback objectively and to discern whether it is aligned with our own values and goals. We should not blindly accept criticism simply because it comes from someone in a position of authority or influence. Aurelius emphasized the importance of developing our own internal standards of excellence. This means striving to do our best, not to impress others, but because we are committed to excellence for its own sake. By focusing on our own internal standards, we can cultivate a sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation. One practical technique for detaching from external opinions is to practice self-compassion. This involves treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and acceptance that we would offer to a friend who is struggling. Self-compassion can help us to develop a more balanced and realistic view of ourselves, reducing our tendency to be overly critical or self-judgmental. Another helpful approach is to identify our core values. What is truly important to us in life? What principles guide our decisions and actions? By clarifying our values, we can gain a stronger sense of purpose and direction, making it easier to resist external pressures to conform. We can also practice mindfulness and self-awareness. By paying attention to our thoughts and feelings, we can become more aware of our tendency to seek approval from others. We can then use this awareness to challenge these thoughts and to cultivate a more detached perspective. Social media presents a particular challenge in the modern world. The constant bombardment of images and messages designed to elicit envy and insecurity can make it difficult to detach from external opinions. It is important to be mindful of our social media consumption and to limit our exposure to content that makes us feel inadequate or insecure. We can also choose to follow accounts that promote self-acceptance, body positivity, and authenticity. By curating our social media feed, we can create a more supportive and empowering online environment. Furthermore, building strong, authentic relationships with people who value us for who we are, rather than for what we achieve, can provide a powerful buffer against external criticism. Surrounding ourselves with people who support our values and who encourage us to be ourselves can help us to cultivate a stronger sense of self-worth. Aurelius's teachings also encourage us to cultivate a sense of perspective. He reminded himself that the opinions of others are ultimately transient and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. By taking a broader view of life, we can reduce the power that external opinions have over us. In conclusion, Marcus Aurelius offers a timeless and invaluable lesson on the importance of detaching from external opinions. By cultivating self-compassion, identifying our core values, practicing mindfulness, and building strong relationships, we can develop a robust sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation. The key lies not in ignoring feedback from others entirely, but in evaluating it objectively and in remaining true to our own values and principles. By detaching from external opinions, we can free ourselves from the tyranny of other people's judgments and live more authentically, more purposefully, and more joyfully. Lesson 6, Mind over Matter, Deep Dive. At the heart of Marcus Aurelius's philosophical framework lies a profound understanding of the power of the mind to shape our reality. His simple yet profound statement, "Our life is what our thoughts make it," encapsulates the Stoic belief that our internal world, our thoughts, perceptions, and attitudes, profoundly influences our experiences and our overall well-being. This lesson provides a powerful framework for taking control of our mental landscape and cultivating a more positive, resilient, and fulfilling life. Aurelius recognized that we cannot always control external events and circumstances. Life is inherently unpredictable, and we will inevitably encounter challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. However, he believed that we can control our thoughts and our responses to these events. Our thoughts are not simply neutral observations of reality. They are interpretations, judgments, and evaluations that shape our emotions, our behaviors, and our overall experience. Negative thoughts can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and hopelessness. Positive thoughts, on the other hand, can foster feelings of hope, resilience, and joy. Aurelius emphasized the importance of cultivating a rational and objective mindset. He believed that we should strive to see the world as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. This requires challenging our assumptions, questioning our beliefs, and seeking out accurate information. This does not mean suppressing our emotions or denying our feelings. Rather, it means learning to manage our emotions effectively, to respond to them in a healthy and constructive way. Aurelius believed that we should not be ruled by our emotions, but rather that we should use our reason to guide our actions. This perspective aligns with modern research in cognitive psychology, which has shown that our thoughts have a powerful impact on our emotions and our behaviors. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is a widely used therapeutic approach that is based on the principle that we can change our thoughts and our behaviors by changing our thoughts. CBT helps individuals identify and challenge negative thought patterns that contribute to emotional distress. By learning to reframe their thoughts in a more positive and realistic way, individuals can reduce their anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems. Aurelius also emphasized the importance of focusing on what we can control. He believed that much of our unhappiness stems from our attempts to control external events and circumstances that are ultimately beyond our influence. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses to external events, we can reduce our stress and anxiety and cultivate a greater sense of peace and contentment. One practical technique for cultivating a more positive mindset is to practice gratitude. This involves taking time each day to reflect on the things that we are grateful for in our lives. This could include our relationships, our health, our opportunities, or even simple pleasures such as a beautiful sunset or a delicious meal. By focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, we can shift our perspective and cultivate a greater sense of appreciation and joy. Another helpful approach is to practice mindfulness and self-awareness. By paying attention to our thoughts and feelings, we can become more aware of our negative thought patterns. We can then use this awareness to challenge these thoughts and to cultivate more positive and constructive ones. We can also use positive affirmations to reprogram our subconscious mind. Affirmations are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves regularly. By repeating these statements, we can gradually change our beliefs and our attitudes. Aurelius's teachings also encourage us to cultivate a sense of perspective. He reminded himself that life is short and that our problems are often insignificant in the grand scheme of things. By taking a broader view of life, we can reduce the power that negative thoughts have over us. In addition, Aurelius believed that we should strive to live in accordance with reason and nature. This means living in harmony with the natural world and with our own inner nature. By living in accordance with reason and nature, we can cultivate a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends our individual circumstances. The power of the mind is not limited to our individual experiences. It can also have a profound impact on the world around us. Our thoughts and our actions can influence the thoughts and actions of others. By cultivating a positive and compassionate mindset, we can create a more positive and compassionate world. In conclusion, Marcus Aurelius provides a powerful and timeless lesson on the power of the mind to shape our reality. By cultivating a rational and objective mindset, practicing gratitude, mindfulness, and self-awareness, and living in accordance with reason and nature, we can take control of our mental landscape and create a more positive, resilient, and fulfilling life. The key lies not in denying the challenges and difficulties that we inevitably encounter, but in choosing how we respond to them. By harnessing the power of our minds, we can transform our experiences and create a life that is aligned with our values and our aspirations. Lesson 7: Embrace Impermanence, Deep Dive. Concluding our exploration of Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, we arrive at a profound lesson that speaks to the very essence of existence, the acceptance of impermanence. His poignant reminder, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think, serves as a stark yet liberating call to embrace the transient nature of life and to live each moment with mindful intention. This Stoic principle challenges our tendency to cling to the illusion of permanence, urging us to appreciate the present moment and to live with purpose and authenticity. The human mind is naturally inclined to seek stability and predictability. We crave certainty and resist change. However, the reality is that everything in life is in a constant state of flux. Relationships change, bodies age, and circumstances shift. Nothing remains the same forever. Aurelius recognized that our resistance to impermanence is a major source of suffering. When we cling to things that are inherently impermanent, we set ourselves up for disappointment and unhappiness when they inevitably change or disappear. He believed that the key to finding peace and contentment is to accept the impermanent nature of life. This does not mean becoming passive or apathetic. Rather, it means cultivating a mindset of acceptance and flexibility, allowing us to adapt to change with grace and resilience. This perspective aligns with Buddhist philosophy, which emphasizes the concept of anicca, or impermanence. Buddhists believe that all phenomena are in a constant state of flux and that clinging to the illusion of permanence is a root cause of suffering. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation, can help us to cultivate a greater awareness of impermanence. By paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment, we can begin to see how they arise and pass away. This can help us to detach from our attachments and to develop a more accepting and compassionate attitude towards ourselves and others. Aurelius also emphasized the importance of living each day as if it were our last. This does not mean living recklessly or irresponsibly. Rather, it means prioritizing what is truly important to us and making the most of the time that we have. By recognizing the preciousness of each moment, we can cultivate a greater sense of gratitude, appreciation, and joy. We can also become more intentional in our actions, striving to live in accordance with our values and to make a positive contribution to the world. This perspective can also help us to overcome our fear of death. By accepting the inevitability of death, we can free ourselves from its grip and live more fully in the present moment. Aurelius's teachings also encourage us to cultivate a sense of detachment from external outcomes. This means striving to do our best, but also accepting that we cannot control the results of our efforts. By releasing our attachment to outcomes, we can reduce our stress and anxiety and cultivate a greater sense of inner peace. One practical technique for embracing impermanence is to practice negative visualization. This involves imagining the loss of things that we value, such as our health, our relationships, or our possessions. While this may seem counterintuitive, it can actually help us to appreciate what we have and to reduce our fear of loss. Another helpful approach is to reflect on our past experiences. How have we coped with change and loss in the past? What lessons have we learned? By reflecting on our past experiences, we can gain a greater sense of resilience and confidence in our ability to navigate future challenges. We can also learn from nature. Nature is a constant reminder of impermanence. The seasons change, plants grow and die, and rivers flow and erode. By observing nature, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the cyclical nature of life and the beauty of impermanence. In addition, Aurelius's teachings encourage us to focus on what is truly important in life, our relationships, our values, and our contribution to the world. By prioritizing these things, we can create a life that is meaningful and fulfilling, even in the face of impermanence. In conclusion, Marcus Aurelius provides a profound and timeless lesson on the importance of embracing impermanence. By cultivating a mindset of acceptance, flexibility, and mindful intention, we can navigate the challenges of life with greater grace and resilience. The key lies not in denying the reality of change and loss, but in learning to accept it and to find meaning and purpose in the present moment. By embracing impermanence, we can free ourselves from the grip of fear and anxiety and live a life that is truly authentic, purposeful, and joyful. In conclusion, the 7 Stoic lessons gleaned from the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius offer a transformative roadmap for navigating the complexities of modern life with resilience, purpose, and inner peace. By embracing acceptance of what we cannot control, recognizing adversity as an opportunity for growth, prioritizing virtue as the ultimate good, cultivating happiness and fulfillment from within, detaching from the opinions of others, harnessing the power of our minds, and accepting the impermanence of all things, we can unlock our potential for a more meaningful and fulfilling existence. These principles are not merely abstract philosophical concepts, they are practical tools that can be applied to our daily lives. By integrating them into our thoughts, our actions, and our relationships, we can cultivate a greater sense of self-awareness, emotional stability, and inner strength. Aurelius's teachings challenge us to shift our focus from external validation to internal cultivation, from fleeting pleasures to enduring values.